So good morning, friends. What a beautiful morning to be here in Windsor, the Sun Parlor of Canada. I can say that because I'm from Windsor. Mayor and I were just talking about that. I'm so proud to be from Windsor, and as I often say to people, you can take the girl out of Windsor, but you can never take the Windsor out of the girl. So while I'm a proud citizen of Burlington for the last number of years, my family are here, and I can always say that a big part of my DNA is right here in Windsor. So Annie, bonjour tout le monde. Je suis Eleanor McMahon. Je suis très fière d'être ici avec vous tous et ravie, en tout cas, d'être ici. Enchantée. My name is Eleanor McMahon. I'm the president and CEO of the Trans-Canada Trail, and I'm pleased to welcome you to this special announcement and to act as your MC. I want to thank each and every one of you who are here today. We have friends from across the border, dedicated trail groups, government representatives, valued partners. Thank you all for joining us this morning and for welcoming us here to Windsor. Your presence today underscores your commitment to the Trans-Canada Trail, to your community's economic vitality and well-being, and we are grateful for your tremendous and continued support. Before we proceed, it is important to acknowledge the traditional territory on which we stand today. At Trans-Canada Trail, we are privileged to have significant relationships with Indigenous communities from coast to coast to coast. And today I'm pleased to introduce Elder Teresa Sims from the Upper Mohawk Turtle Clan of the Six Nations of the Grand River Territory, who will offer a land acknowledgement. Chimigwech, please welcome Elder Sims.
Ganawala dosa la son quaint de son. Kajijis to Howe ni gets. Hunshoni, onkwi hori niha. These are words that come before all others. When two or more people meet, we send our greetings, our thanksgiving, and our love to Creator. We introduce ourselves with our spirit name. Mine is Kajijis to Howe. She comes from the stars. I'm Upper Mohawk Turtle Clan, one of the people Longhouse, and I try to follow a natural way of life. So I'd like to send greetings, thanksgiving, and love to all that are here today, their hearts and minds together as one. A good heart and a good mind. An open heart and open mind, that we work together as one heart and one mind, this role and responsibility we've taken today. Also, we'd like to send our greetings, thanksgiving, and love to those who aren't here. Those who are sick, those in the hospital, those incarcerated, those missing or lost. Hopefully they'll join us in the future, so we put our hearts and minds together as one. And also, as we look out at creation, Mother Earth is giving us a beautiful day. It's getting so warm out there. It's giving us a peek at the next months of springtime. So with that, I have to remember that creation can survive without us. We can't survive without creation. And I'd like to sing a song of welcome. It comes from the Mi'kmaq Nation. It talks about the eagle. The eagle flies highest. He's closest to Creator. He sees that there's friends coming, so it's time to prepare.
Thank you, Elder Sims Chimigwech. Thank you so very much for that beautiful beginning to this wonderful occasion. Thank you for your thoughtful words and for reminding us of the importance of recognizing and respecting Indigenous peoples' connection to this land, and in particular to the Windsor-Detroit area. Now I'd like to recognize a number of esteemed guests. Hold your applause to the end. A few of them are joining us for remarks. We're honored to be joined today by Colin Bird, who's the Consul General of Canada in Detroit. Colin, nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Eric Kushmerik, who's the MP for Windsor-Tecumseh. Eric is here in the front row. Brian Massey, the MP for Windsor West. Andrew Dowie, the MPP for Windsor-Tecumseh. And Gordon Orr, the CEO of Tourism Windsor Essex, Pelee Island. And of course, His Worship Mayor Drew Dilkins, who has been kind enough and gracious enough to host us today at Windsor City Hall for this exciting announcement. I'd now like to invite His Worship Mayor Dilkins to the podium to say a few words of welcome. Mayor Dilkins.
Well, thank you very much. Let me move this up. Make it Drew size here. Thank you very much, Eleanor. And Eleanor always, doesn't matter where you go, when she's in Windsor, she always uses the remarks that you can't take the girl out of Windsor, for sure. And we appreciate all that you do and such a great ball of energy and force of nature that you are. And we're excited for your new opportunity. We congratulate you on that. Yeah. Congratulate you on that, and thank you for all that you've delivered here. I am excited to be here. This is the things that are happening in our community today are really once-in-a-lifetime projects, whether it's the construction of the Gordie Howe Bridge, whether it's this battery factory and all of the supply chain that's happening, whether it's the hospital that's on deck and going to be built. These are the types of projects that are happening, and you probably get tired of me hearing me talk about these three projects, but they're so remarkable to be happening all around the same time. That it presents such great opportunities in many ways. And this community is really blessed to have strong leadership with whether the people live here or whether they're people from outside of Windsor who have connections who want to see this community succeed. And so when you have a project like the Gordie Howe Bridge where you can stitch together something that this community fought for, and Brian, you went right back to the beginning on this, trying to champion the pedestrian crossing across this bridge, and there were forces and headwinds to see that happen. But as a community, we persevered. We said we need to see this happening because you're only going to see this bridge built once in a lifetime. So how do we make sure it hits the mark? And so connecting the Trans-Canada Trail, which is the longest trail network anywhere in this world, to that bridge is quite a remarkable feat. And so you should all be very, very proud for the voices that you lent to see a project like this happen. And then you think of the connections. It's great, okay, you can ride your bike or walk across this new bridge. The view and the vista is going to be great. But where are you going to connect? Where are you going to connect to on both sides? So from a City of Windsor perspective, we have been spending massive amounts of money every year to build out the trail system. In the past 6 years, Windsor's cycling network has increased by 40 kilometers with almost 15 kilometers of new multi-use trails and 24 kilometers of new bicycle lanes. And that's just an example of what we're doing. And my colleagues are here. Jim Morrison is here. Karen McKenzie. I saw Ed Sleeman. Not sure if I'm missing any. Oh, Angelo Marignani's here as well. And so everyone is rowing in the same direction, which you don't always see on every particular issue, and rowing in the same direction at the federal level, at the provincial level, at the municipal level to say this is really important stuff. We're going to make this right for the residents in the community. So for all of you who've played a role, who've lent a hand to get us to this point, all of the folks that are involved in the WDBA, some board members are here, the staff, the Trans-Canada Trail folks, folks at the federal level and the provincial level who have to help sponsor and support this with dollars and cents. For my colleagues on the City Council who are making sure that there's money available to continue to connect the network, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is such a great day. And I thought to myself when I came down the elevator, I said, well, there'll probably be 5 or 10 people here today. But, having this room full as it is, I think, is the strongest testament to the importance of this project, and you should all be very, very proud of how the community is moving forward today. So thank you, Eleanor. Thank you, team. Congratulations.
I'm going to lower this just a tad. It's nice to be tall. I'm going to use a bad analogy, Your Worship, but you started it around the height thing. You have walked tall in this project, and we're grateful to you. And we know what this means to Windsor. And just that incredible historic moment of this brand new, impressive infrastructure that's connecting people on both sides of the border and the WDA. We thank you for your leadership. I'm going to introduce them in a moment, but we do have colleagues here, my colleague Marlene Kohler from the Great Lakes Waterfront Trail, our vibrant trail partner in Windsor and Essex County, and proud partner of the Great Lakes Waterfront Trail, which is around all of our Great Lakes. It is what it says. And Marlene's been working closely with our colleagues in the United States to bring this to fruition, and for that, we're enormously grateful. It really does take a village, Mr. Mayor, as you said. So our next speaker really is emblematic of the wonderful partnership that we enjoy and the leadership from the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority, a vibrant partner. I'd like to invite to the podium Heather Grondin, who's the Vice President of Corporate Affairs and External Relations at the Bridge, to talk about the partnership and to make today's exciting announcement. Heather.
Great. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Eleanor. It's my pleasure to be here today on behalf of WDBA's CEO, Charles Vanderkirk, and I do recognize some of our board members, as well as project team members from WDBA, the state of Michigan, and Bridging North America who are here with us. If you've driven in the area of Windsor and Detroit, you've surely witnessed the amazing progress that's being made on the Gordie Howe International Bridge project site. The team is extremely proud to be delivering the longest cable-stayed bridge in North America, right here between Windsor and Detroit. Work is steadily advancing, and we're becoming closer and closer every day to opening the bridge. The Gordie Howe International Bridge will forever change the skyline of Windsor and Detroit and will streamline the movement of people and goods through the busiest commercial land border crossing between Canada and the U.S. It's also an example of sustainable infrastructure, and it's won numerous awards and is setting a new precedent for projects around the world. The multi-use path on the bridge is a physical representation of our commitment to sustainability. It will be free for people to use and will accommodate two-way pedestrian and cyclist traffic. Located on the east side of the bridge, the path will provide a scenic view of downtown Windsor and downtown Detroit. The project has always been about more than the commercial advantages that this new bridge will provide. It's also an opportunity to leverage significant infrastructure for investment in the environment, in our neighboring communities, and the region itself. The bridge is a catalyst for change, and community leaders are embracing that opportunity, and they're working together across the border to chart a new path for the region. Today, I'm excited to share the latest testament to that vision. So I'm very happy to announce that the Gordie Howe International Bridge is officially joining the Trans-Canada Trail, becoming the first international border crossing along its 28,000-kilometer network. Through this designation, the trail also becomes a connector for the Great Lakes Waterfront Trail in Windsor, Ontario, and to the Iron Bell Trail and Great Lakes Way in Detroit, Michigan. The project team is very proud to provide this vital connection that transcends borders and encourages the discovery of diverse communities, rich history, and natural landscapes that Canada and the U.S. have to offer, while at the same time generating a new cross-border tourism opportunities. WDBA made the decision to include a multi-use path into the bridge design as a result of community consultation. We heard from the community members the importance of including this multi-use path now. As Mayor noted, we're only building this bridge once. Community consultation continues to be vital to the decision-making of the project team, and we currently have a survey open online to get feedback on how we're going to operate the multi-use path. I encourage everyone to take a few minutes, visit our website, GordieHoweInternationalBridge.com, and fill out that survey. On behalf of the project team, I extend my thanks to Eleanor and the rest of the Trans-Canada Trail team for making this designation possible. I also thank the trail partners from Ontario and from Michigan, as well as the municipalities of Windsor and Detroit for working together with us to help facilitate our regional network connections. The Gordie Howe International Bridge team is excited for the role that we're playing, and we're happy to work with you and support active transportation, economic prosperity, and the cultural exchange that will occur with this multi-use path. Thank you.
Wow, how great is that, right? Another round of applause, maybe, for that momentous announcement. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Heather, for setting the stage for this incredible announcement. Thank you for your generous partnership. And thank you to the members of the WDBA team who are here for their ongoing work and partnership, and also the members of the Board of Directors who are present this morning. I'd like to build on your remarks, Heather, just a few minutes, if you'll indulge me, to articulate just how significant this development is for the Trans-Canada Trail. This fall, we will bring the world to Canada to host the World Trails Network Conference, bringing trail leaders from around the globe to Canada to talk about the growing importance to trails in terms of sustainable tourism, bringing economic development to countries around the world, and talk about issues of common interest and concern. You can be absolutely certain that this partnership will be front and center as we talk to colleagues in Europe who cross borders seamlessly. There are trail outings in Europe that attract tourists from around the world. You can cross 7 countries in a matter of a few days. And so this kind of economic development through tourism is of growing importance, and I know and I'm excited by what it's going to bring to the Windsor and Detroit area and to Sandwich Town and leading right into our great downtown here in Windsor. It's just going to be marvelous. So thank you so much. This is the first bridge border crossing to join the Trans-Canada Trail, 28,000 kilometer network, as Heather mentioned. I can tell you that our colleagues in Niagara are just itching to do something similar. And right? And it all started right here in Windsor, which is so, which should make you all extraordinarily proud. You're creating a best practice for the world, and our colleagues right here in Ontario are looking with envy at what we're doing here. So we're excited to grow the presence of the trail and build on so much of what's already happened here. And I know, Mayor, that the Mayor of Niagara Falls is very jealous, and that's okay. So we're making history today. And when I think about, again, having grown up here and knowing the history of the area a little bit, I think of the first people who walked these lands centuries and millennia ago. This area of Canada is so rich in cultural and natural history, whether it's the new National Urban Park and the biodiversity that's inherent within it, and that's going to attract tourists and bring people closer to nature. I grew up here, again, as I mentioned. Ojibwe Park was a part of my growing up, and I just am so grateful that we're going to sustain it for centuries and generations to come. I think of those who sought freedom via the Underground Railroad and walked to freedom along the trails in Windsor that are now part of our network along the waterfront. And I know, Mr. Mayor, those are so important to you. I think of the Walpole Island First Nation and members of other First Nations whose rich history is captured and evidenced through the Ojibwe Prairies Complex and the new National Urban Park, as I mentioned, to which the Trans-Canada Trail will soon be connected. And I think about the residents and the tourists alike who are going to enjoy all of those connections. This first-of-its-kind trail connection is poised to be a powerful catalyst for the kinds of recreation, active transport, and tourism and conservation opportunities that bolster communities and contribute to valuable economic development. Here in Ontario, the Gordie Howe International Bridge will act as an important gateway to the wine regions, not just here in Essex, right, Gordon, but the ones in Niagara as well, because you can cycle between here and Niagara in a day if you really want, and it's a beautiful trip. And exactly, maybe you'll have a glass of wine after you're done. So we're thrilled to collaborate with the WDBA to provide Canadians and visitors with an interconnected and accessible international trail system. Together, we are leveraging the $55 million we received from the federal government so generously to facilitate the kind of exceptional trail experience that this will be. And we know it will be one of many in Canada, but this will stand out as an experience to which tourists will enjoy and be invited. So this partnership would not have been possible without the steadfast support of trail groups, because without them, we are nothing. Trans-Canada Trail is a trail of trails. We work with 500 trail groups across the country, and people like Marlene Kohler, who do the work at the local level, are the ones that really make our work such a joy and a pleasure and a privilege. So I want to sincerely thank our partners at the Waterfront Regeneration Trust, the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan, and the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. Your stewardship of the Great Lakes Waterfront Trail, the Iron Belt Trail, and the Great Lakes Way is inspiring. I would now like to invite representatives from each of these organizations, Marlene Kohler, Sedge Hegedal, and Greg Yankee, to join me at the podium, along with our elected officials, for a photograph as we present a symbol of our partnership to the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority for this commitment to this transformative project. So I think you have the gift in question, Marlene. These are signs. Are we gathering here? Someone's going to tell me where to go. Did I say that out loud? Am I in the right spot? Shall I? I know. We kind of want to see them. Can we maybe do this? Can we hold it? That's a good idea. You guys want to hold it? How perfect is that? We're doing a little stage managing here, everyone. Do you want to step out in front? I love this, by the way. These are the trail signs, by the way. Right, Heidi? Right. Heidi's our sign person. She's much more than that. Okay, I can't hold this up. Andrew, can Andrew? Everyone's being told where to go. But this is a once in a lifetime photo. It's so fun. It's cool, right? You guys mind all looking at us in the media? Sure, absolutely. All set?
Good.
All set?
All right.
Thanks, Lynette. Get it? Got it. Okay. Good? Excellent. Thank you, everyone. That's so good. Thanks, everybody. That was important. So thank you, everyone. While trail signage, like the piece we just presented, is an important symbol of the physical development ahead, I want to highlight the fact that the trail's not just about infrastructure. It's about connecting and enriching our communities as well. And I can think of no better individuals to share their thoughts on the importance of thriving communities than the local elected officials in attendance, all of whom have been incredibly dedicated supporters of the trail. As the saying goes, it takes a village. And here today we have all levels of government, and the mayor touched on this, and that really is truly significant. All of you represented as a sign of this moment in history and of the shared commitment to creating a truly memorable experience, a bucket list experience. Mayor, I think maybe you have a phone call in your future with the mayor of San Francisco, because the people who cross the Golden Gate Bridge and the tourism folks in San Francisco have highlighted it as a bucket list opportunity, and there are thousands and thousands of tourists who visit the Golden Gate Bridge every year to have their picture taken, to take selfies. People get engaged on the bridge. When you think about it, it's truly exciting. So it's going to be a part of the tourism experience and the experience of residents for years to come. So I'd like to invite our first speaker to the podium, Irek Kushmerek, who's a member of Parliament for Windsor-Tecumseh. Please join us in welcoming Irek.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Eleanor, for bringing us together here. And this is incredible. Look at all the people here, the different organizations, all levels of government united behind this absolutely spectacular project. And Eleanor, I also wanted to say thank you for mentioning the Underground Railroad. I wanted to wish everyone here a happy Black History Month. And the story of the Underground Railroad really highlights for us that our community is a community of trails. It is a community of connections. It is a community, our history is one of a community of migration. And that just highlights the importance of that to really our character and the history and the culture of our community here. So thank you very much for acknowledging that. Thank you so much to Heather, Stephanie, Charles, and everyone at the WDBA as well for being such an important part of this incredible project and just being such an incredible partner to our community. Just this week, we announced an additional $2.6 million in community benefits that are being spread throughout the community. So thank you so much. Let's give the WDBA a huge round of applause here as well. This is an incredible day, folks. I mean, this is such a special day, and just it's huge for me just to be able to be a part of this incredible historic day. This is about connections. The Trans-Canada Trail is about connections. 15,000 communities across Canada are connected by the Trans-Canada Trail. Think about that for a second, how important that is, from coast to coast to coast. 80% of Canadians live within 30 minutes of the Trans-Canada Trail. It's the longest trail in the world. And so this is historic. This is really momentous It's really important that we're here today. And what makes it even more important is we know that when we connect people to nature, when we connect people to nature and the outdoors, it is more likely that we conserve nature, that we conserve the environment, that we conserve the land and the waters that surround us. And that really was also the thinking between the Ojibwe National Urban Park. And as we speak right now, we have the community working together with Parks Canada, with First Nations, building the Ojibwe National Urban Park. And the engine that's driving that project is teamwork, is again connections. I emphasize connections and partnerships and teamwork. Brian Massey being one of the absolute leaders and champions and advocates of an Ojibwe National Urban Park. Andrew Dowie, our member of provincial parliament, our city council, our mayor, working together in tandem to bring this about. And that is really how we get things done in our community, is by building connections, building partnerships, and working together. And I think it's really cool that the Trans-Canada Trail will connect the Ojibwe National Urban Park to many other parks across Canada, including Banff National Park, which is the first national park in Canada. And it's really neat to think about that connection once again. And so we're so proud as a federal government to be part of this national treasure, which is the Trans-Canada Trail, the vital national treasure. And that's why a year and a half ago, we were proud to commit $55 million to the Trans-Canada Trail to build upon those connections. It is the single largest ever investment to the Trans-Canada Trail, and we know that it is such an invaluable project. And at the same time, talking about not just the connections between Canadian communities and Canadians, but the binational connection. And I had a chance a couple months ago to stand with Charles and the team at the WDBA on the bridge deck of the Gordie Howe International Bridge and overlooking our two countries. And you really get this unique vantage point that kind of brings it all together in terms of just how connected we are binationally as well too. And it was really neat to see the teamwork of the folks building the bridge. I mean, literally at shift change, you would see the men and women building that bridge high-fiving each other as they're undergoing a shift change, because they're so proud of this incredible binational project. 11 million worker hours to date have been committed building that incredible project. And it just highlights once again the importance of teamwork, all of us working together. And so this Trans-Canada Trail, this bridge is going to connect not only the trails on the Canadian side, but will be connected to the Joe Louis Greenway, the Detroit Riverwalk, the Iron Belt Trail, and so many others. And just to highlight again the importance of those binational trails. And once again, it's something that the mayor had touched upon. This announcement here today again reinforces really the power of connections, the power of teamwork, the power of partnerships, and our community working together. And it's spectacular to think that within months of each other, because of that teamwork, we will be opening up the Gordie Howe International Bridge. We will be opening up the battery plant and the 2,500 Canadian local jobs that it will generate for this community. And we will be opening up the Ojibwe National Urban Park. It's all about connections. It's all about teamwork, all about partnerships. And I can't think of a better project than this one here to highlight the power of that. Thank you very much.
Windsor is truly fortunate to be served by two wonderful members at the federal level. And we thank you both, because our next guest, Brian Massey, is, as he mentioned, Iraq, and thank you for your kind words, has been an incredible champion for everything in the community, as you are. And for all of us to see the two of you working together is really inspiring. You don't often see that in public life these days, so I salute you both, because both of you care so much about your community and the quality of life of residents here. So bravo, well done. I'd now like to invite the Member of Parliament for Windsor West, Brian Massey, to the stage to share a few words. Brian.
So I don't normally have some remarks, but I have a few things to remember here. And so Gordon's already looking at me laughing, because he knows this is a little bit off script for me to actually have notes. But it's important. And Eleanor, thank you for all the work, and your staff and everybody else that's put this together. And thank your worship for hosting us here today, because it's important. And a lot of things. And first of all, my remarks, though, I want to dedicate anything I say, and they'll maybe later on hold me to it, is to John Toffelmeyer, Gary Smith, and Ron Jones. Those three individuals, how many people here know where Marlborough Public School is? Anywhere Marlborough? Just a few hands up. Well, 1998 is when we had the first meeting where we fought to get a pedestrian crosswalk to the Assumption School, a countdown clock when that was then illegal in the province of Ontario to have countdown clocks, and a community safety zone because the trucks along Huron Church Road looked like trains. And we had people die along that corridor, and along the history of this, we've even had children actually have to get measured for the toxins that they had. And it was then at that time, a resident said, let's fight for a new crossing. 1998, and that was the first time about 45 people in Marlborough Public School came out unified, and we got the other three projects done, and we're getting this done. A West End Windsor City problem has now become Canada's #1 infrastructure project. And I look back here, I see Mike Cardinal back here who's been along this adventure the whole time. How many people have come and gone over the years that won't be able to cross this, that fought for this? This is who this moment is for. There was many people at that time, if you remember, that told us to shut up and go away because the Ambassador Bridge will just take care of it. They'll either twin, and we won't have to spend a cent of public money. And then later on, we actually had OMERS want the Jobs Tunnel and the DRTP right through the city of Windsor. And if you remember those days, that was when they bought advertising on TV, newspapers, and mailed directly to the residents saying, pick one of those options. And what happened remarkably in this community is the spirit of Windsor, which is a spirit that I think says something for other communities. Instead of actually picking a winner and a loser, both the West End and the South Windsor area unified to demand a public crossing. And that took place over a number of different years, governments and legislation. We didn't actually have an International Border and Tunnel Act. So at one point in time, we didn't even actually have control or actually have any type of accounting on the private crossing of the Ambassador Bridge. That took place later on under Stephen Harper. And that actually got the process to get a new border crossing. And remember, there was like 17 different locations it could have been. And there was controversy in those locations because of a lot of different issues. But we came up unified with this location on both sides of the border. I remember going to Michigan and being in Lansing and talking to the governor and others about this issue, and they didn't want a downriver solution. So we looked at that, and we chose this location. And ironically, this location was at a point in place where historically it's significant. And it hasn't been easy. And I know that as a New Democrat, sometimes I walk in the room and it gets uncomfortable. I'm going to raise a couple of things that are true. And I want to thank Heather and the WDBA for all the things that we've done. Black History Month. This project originally didn't include Black history. It does now. Thank you. That's significant. That's important. And it's going to be part of our legacy. This project originally didn't include a bike lane. We were told it couldn't be done. We fought for that. It got done. So I want to thank everyone that's been along this process for all of these years. And there's so many to thank. I remember being with Rashida Tlaib on our waterfront, bringing over the American sign. I see John and others, our American friends. We were told, like, why would you want to connect into the United States? You know what? And it's been awesome this last number of weeks being the member for Windsor West, not just because of Windsor West, it's always awesome, but also how many MPs have come up to me and said, oh, we're sorry about the Lions. They were so happy to hear about the Lions because they know that's the underdog story that I've been telling them for 20 plus years in Ottawa, how great Detroit is to be a neighbor and how special it is to be on the border. And when you look at the line that was around the middle of the lake here, that's an artificial line. That's a line that we impose as citizens. It's not a line that's really about our hearts and about our minds and the people that we actually have as friends, relatives, and business contacts on the other side. And that's the truth. And we had to go through this COVID barrier that took that away. And here we are with Eleanor and everybody else at Trans. And thank you so much, Marlene. You are providing a restoration of what lost for 2 years with COVID and 2+ years. And there used to be a day you could walk across the Ambassador Bridge. We've seen those pictures. So this is part of our heritage, is actually to either have ferries or to have infrastructure that connected us without cars or trucks back and forth. So you're restoring that. So I want to conclude with this and saying thank you so much, but let's even continue to push this even harder because it's special. I hear the Niagara stuff, and it's great because I have a lot of friends there, and I champion what's taking place here. And we want them as brother, sister with us to promote this, to do this more across our country. So congratulations, thank you for allowing me to speak, and most importantly, for all those that aren't going to be able to cross it because they're not here anymore, because it's taken this long, thank you. There's so many West End people I want to thank. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. That was great. And thank you for those inspiring words and for your continued support. I'd now like to invite the Member of Provincial Parliament for Windsor-Tecumseh, Andrew Dowie, and thank him too for his support and his wisdom and his advice and participation in our discussions, and welcome him to the podium. Please welcome Andrew Dowie.
Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you, Eleanor. It's such a privilege to be here for a number of different reasons. One is I've got a 70-liter Osprey backpack that I haven't used in a couple years due to this new career of mine, and I would love to be one of the first to cross the bridge and take part in some of the additional Trans-Canada Trail endeavors. So really, thank you everybody for being here and for the support of this project. This is such a tremendous project. And I'll say I've been a trail fan for many, many years. I was one of the first to buy a meter of the Trans-Canada Trail on the Essex County Greenway. And really hiking and being in the outdoors is something that's very important to me. Actually, many of the lines on this map I have actually hiked. Particularly one of my favorite spots is just up here, the White River Suspension Bridge. But the Trans-Canada Trail, phenomenal project. And to see the connectivity between our two nations, Canada and the United States, is just incredible. One of my roles is as Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. And what I've learned about economic development, not just being at Queen's Park, but also working here at the City of Windsor, where I handled economic development files for a few years. What attracts people to a community is really their quality of life and the quality of the community. You can incentivize, you can pitch numbers, but predominantly if the CEO doesn't like the community, they're not coming. This is an asset, not only something that can be added to our pitch for our regional economy, but also we're destined to get people walking across the bridge on the other side. And likewise, Canadians going to the United States and seeing what kind of opportunity we have in our collective region. So this is a tremendous opportunity on the economic front as well to introduce the respective territories to our neighbors and vice versa. And I do want to give a couple shout outs. I see several former colleagues. I see Jeff Hagan, who's the former manager of Senior Engineer Transportation Planning, Mark Winterton, Stacey McGuire, and Helga Rydell, who I've all had the tremendous privilege of working with on projects just like these. I know we've got some great assets here in Windsor and Essex County. It's incredible to see the Trans-Canada Trail and the Waterfront Trail as well. And sometimes these projects are difficult. A couple years ago, in my ward, when I was a councillor in Tecumseh, we had quite a battle over should we have a trail or not along Lake St. Clair. And I tell you, I still have the battle scars from that. But look, it was the right thing to do. And I want to actually thank MP Kazmierczak, who was able to deliver significant funding to support that trail for the town of Tecumseh. And it provided a connectivity that didn't exist once the Grancho Trail, and you're left with effectively a dead-ended sidewalk just for Lacoste. And so we were able to get that, thanks to the support of the federal government as well as the town of Tecumseh, to get it to Lakewood Park. I know there's some other gaps left to be done, but one by one, we will fill those gaps. This is a tremendous gap that is being filled thanks to the Gordie Howe International Bridge. Thank you, Heather, and to the entire team for having the foresight and the collegiality to be able to incorporate this into the overall program. And I will conclude by giving my regards from Minister Neil Lumsden. I did connect. He was very interested in coming here. Unfortunately, his schedule did not allow for it, but he gives you tremendous thanks, Eleanor. And I also want to give a shout out to Warden McDonald, who for Essex County gives significant support for building up our trail system as well. So thank you very much, everybody. Such a privilege to be here and to share in this great news today.
Thank you. So well said, Andrew. Thank you so much for your very kind words and for your ongoing dedication and support, too. And please give our best to Minister Lumsden. I've had occasion to work with him, and he really is tremendous. And not just because I had that role and he has it now, he's doing a fabulous job. Please give him our best and our thanks. So coming to the end of our remarks, my remarks now, and the formalities of today, just really wanting to thank everybody again. And you know, this is going to inspire other communities across Canada, and you can be sure that the Trans-Canada Trail is going to be leading the way, but it takes a village, everybody here, all of the community members who are here, the community leaders who are here, the University of Windsor is here. It takes everybody in civil society to come together to make these kinds of endeavors happen. So again, tremendous thanks to the WDBA and to you, Mr. Mayor, to our MPs. Andrew had to leave us. We thank him. That this is going to be great, everybody. I can't wait to come back. I hope I'm invited for the opening of the new bridge and to stand on that spire and to ride my bike across it. And I know I'll be filled with tremendous pride because the Trans-Canada Trail is really what this is all about. So thank you. Un gros merci tout le monde. Have a wonderful rest of your day and do stay for some refreshments. Merci. Thank you.